Let's bring in Liang. She's an economics professor at Willamette University. I'd like to get your reaction to the IMF's upgraded outlook for 2021. China, as we know, was already on a pretty clear path to recovery. What would you say is behind this pretty optimistic jump?
Well, I think the IMF has ascribed China's rebound to very effective pandemic control, also very effective public investment, and also monetary support, and to all of these policy factors, and also containment of the virus. And I think for the rest of the world, again with the rollout of vaccines, and also for countries like the United States is launching a pretty large-scale stimulus package, then that would produce some positive spillovers to other countries. And of course, China's growth and its increased in demand for global, exports would also help to boost the global economy.
Right, 8.4% in 2021 for China, about 6% for the United States. And so when you have the two largest economies in the world looking pretty strong, they think pre-pandemic levels before the end of the year. Won't that spill over into other economies around the world? I mean, do you really think it'll take till 2023 to see pre-pandemic levels across the globe?
Right. Unfortunately, I think as the IMF projected, the kind of recovery and growth would be very uneven within countries and also across different countries. So I think, as you just pointed out, the two largest economy and they are recovering very well, and that will promote trade, promote investment, and many other aspects of the economy to help the rest of the world. But still, I think a lot of these developing countries, they are still slow in vaccination rollout. There are also many of them are struggling with debt. And so I think also countries, they rely on, tourism and other service kinds of industries, then these countries will have slower recovery. So I think that's why the IMF is calling for, countries like China and the US, not to too quickly reverse the policies to have some kind of fiscal cliff or raising interest rate too prematurely. And the IMF is also helping developing countries by issuing more SDRs and etc.
You know that China has long been considered the factory of the world, but it is pivoting, and as it moves more into tech and innovation, how will that impact China's long-term economic outlook, going more internal versus external?
Right. This is very important as the 14th five-year plan has clearly indicated that China needs to, conduct a so-called dual circulation model in the sense that China needs to boost domestic consumption demand. That is not only help China to grow, but also provide that effective demand for the rest of the world. And the second aspect is also China needs to improve its technology that would help China to upgrade its industries, to have more sort of high-end and high-value added manufacturing and also services. So again, this is very important for China's long-term sustainable growth. And I think that also help other countries as, technological advancements would have the positive spillover effects.
That being said, as we see cases go down around the world and as more countries begin to vaccinate more people, we're seeing a lot of it here in the United States, could we see these numbers become even greater than 6% in the United States, 8% in China? Is there a lot of pent-up spending that you think could take place later this year, a lot of demand to travel and to spend more money and to consume?
Right, absolutely. I do think that China could, and the rest of the world as well, could have better growth prospect than even what we are seeing now. But again, IMF, I think they are having a sort of balanced outlook of the economy because there's also other risk factors such as the virus mutations, or maybe inflation could catch up, even though I don't think that's a very big concern given the very weak labor market. And, the United States is also, they're going to recover the GDP growth by the end of this year, but the job market remains pretty slack. And I think Jenny Yellen talked about that the U.S. probably will not have full employment until next year. So I think there are some risk factors. And for China, this U.S.-China tension is still room pretty large, not to mention some of the financial vulnerabilities in the United States and in China as well. So I think there are some risk factors that could still slow the economies down. So I think policymakers will still need to remain vigilant.
Professor Liang, always great to see you. Thank you so much for your input.
Thank you.